Welcome to the Sykes & Company PA video blog featuring Ollin Sykes. Trends that independent pharmacy owners are using to better manage their inventories in 2014. What are you seeing?
Okay. We're definitely seeing a move towards more and more pharmacies keeping perpetual inventory systems as accurate as possible. For many decades, pharmacies didn't see the need to really make sure they understood where their inventory levels were at all times, and they just periodically would do an actual count, and that would be the end of it. But in today's environment, where margins are so tight and where the cost of even generics are rising just so dramatically, it's so critically important to understand what inventory is on the shelf. Is it in date? Is it out of date? Is it brand? Is it generic? What are the dollar figures associated with that? And making sure that what they're ordering and what they're putting on the shelf, less what they're selling at the counter, the integrity of that whole process is where it needs to be. So we are really pushing hard to make sure that our pharmacy clients are bearing down on that inventory, making sure that their inventory levels are accurate, making sure at the end of each month, whatever inventories numbers are showing on the balance sheets are as accurate as possible, tying back into what they believe is on the shelf.
What's the biggest problem you see?
Well, it's really a combination of several of the factors, because with brands today. In fact, I was just looking at a system in Florida earlier this morning. Bought the pharmacy this year, has just gotten on a particular brand script system and just started running some reports. And we've been utilizing a certain gross profit percentage on the financials because we didn't have any better data to go upon. And she ran her first reports for like the first 60 days she'd been on the system, and those reports were like 9% under what we had been using. And on the surface, that seems very concerning, but in reality, she does a lot of specialty, a lot of HIV, a lot of high dollar brand drugs that typically have very low margins. And again, with brand drugs, even though average prices of those drugs are typically sky high, the margin percentages on a gross dollar basis are relatively small. And you can't really use your gross revenue figure as a judge of how that pharmacy is doing. You've got to use the gross margin dollars as the indicator. That's the number that you have to apply against selling general and administrative expenses. And so it becomes very important to really know, who you are, what scripts you're filling, who your patients are, and what your margins are, whether it be brands, whether it be generic, whether it be specialty, whether it be compounding, whether it be the typical normal scripts that we see in a regular independent pharmacy on Main Street. But all of that is very important to know. It's very important to gauge. It's very important to be able to adjust your financial statements so the information is reliable as possible. Because I'm going to have to make a 9% adjustment of her gross sales year to date. She's been in business since February when she bought the pharmacies. That's going to be a very large adjustment. But we all knew that the adjustment was coming. We just didn't know what it was going to be until she got the system in place. And she's actually going to pull an actual inventory at the end of June, so we can tie all that back in and make sure that what she's seeing at the counter now on this new system ties in with her actual inventory, and hopefully she can keep a perpetual system going forward.
Thank you for joining us today. If you want more information or have any questions, please feel free to contact Ollin directly.